So we'll talk about that right now. So if I go to Bitcoin here, it is possible, right, that this was the A wave. Now we're going up in wave B, which means we break the top, right? So this is an idea I haven't really shared, but let's say, remember this was the flat A, B, C, right? But what if, because when you look at the previous times Bitcoin broke above the all-time high, they were much bigger. So I'm thinking, well, if it's bigger, then what if this was the A and now we're going to go up in B, we're going to break the top, right? It's going to be a fake out, and then we come back down for C. Now maybe it breaks the low, maybe it stops in the middle, maybe it comes here. It could be an expanded flat, it could be a regular flat, it could be a running flat. It's hard to know, but basically some type of flat, and then it continues higher. So that would be an A, B, C. So that idea I haven't shared yet, and I was going to talk about that. But anyway, yeah, that's the flat idea from the bigger picture. Well, basically means we're going to break the top, get everybody bullish, then come back down, right? So just kind of how like I've been talking about the flat from this perspective right here, which is essentially an A, B, C. Here's the top. We broke the top, then we come down, then we continue higher. But this continuing higher part is not the workings of a flat, because it needed to be more impulsive. So far, it looks very corrective. So if we just continue correcting above the all-time high, right, then it's going to look like an A, B, and then a C, right? So we'll see. Well, like I said, we're in the middle of the retracement levels. Very hard to know exactly how that works. Looking at the price of others, basically all the altcoins except the top, right? We did get through the retracement levels, so that's interesting, right? Like I said, this can turn into an A. Maybe we come up for B, then we get C, like a bigger type of flat pattern. Or hopefully that's not the case, and this is a 1-2, and now we're starting our ascent to the upside. But again, I would have to align myself with Bitcoin and what it's telling me, and so far it looks like an A, B, and we're going to get some type of C or some type of A, B, C, like a bigger C, right? So a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation sideways, or a bigger C wave, then go. But all directions eventually point up. The difference is what happens here is the hard part, and which route we take. And we'll get there. We'll talk about that as the days go. What's also interesting is, look at this. We have the total, or the others, right? Breaking above the 618. Basically the goal, the entire goal for the altcoins is for this chart to break above 365 billion and then eventually 400 billion. So right now we're at 340 billion, around there. So we got some work to do. We need to break above this and stay above it. So this is the 2-week chart. It would be amazing to see if we can get the current 2-week candle to close above here. That would be the big goal, right? Because the whole point of this and what we're talking about, the whole point of everything we're talking about is the goal to break above the all-time high for altcoins, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we have 1, 2, 3. So far, it's a 3-wave move, right? Which, this thing can, be, if something were to occur in the market, like a black swan or something, it could lead to disaster, because you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you have A, B, and C. So you have an A, B, what comes next? A C leg, right? That could totally happen. And then we go to the moon, because everybody thinks we're going now, but it's basically the biggest trap in history. Now, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. If that were to happen, then I believe it would happen like this. rise, crash, retrace. We come down for reaccumulation. We have a base down here, right? We go into a retracement. Then we develop another base, consolidate, break out. Then we, so basically a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, then breakout. So if it was going to be bearish, then I would expect something like that. Maybe not that big the way I've drawn it, but something to that effect. Now, my hope is that doesn't happen, right? Because this is going to take too much time. I mean, we've already been dealing with so much time, right? So what would be, if it really wants to correct, what would be nice to see is some type of bull flag, right? All while remaining above the bull market support band, then continue higher. So that would be the hope. So yeah, that would be total, or actually the others chart. Basically all the altcoins, excluding the top 10. So yeah, that's that. Let's continue. I thought this chart was very interesting. Basically, it's the ratio between the total market and XRP. I've shown this chart before, but basically we are right back at the top here, right? So every time it gets to this level, right, it follows a big dump, right? Now we have been making low, higher, low, higher, low, higher, low. It could be some type of ascending triangle and a breakout, but I don't think so. I think what's happening here, so basically, if you like XRP and you hold XRP, you want this thing to go down. You want it to go down, right? Because if it goes down, then that means XRP is gaining dominance over the rest of the market, right? So to me, it looks like a 1, 2, 3, and then we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, and now it looks like we're going into 5, and then we come down. So it wouldn't surprise me if we break this top, right, and then come down like a big fake out. So we'll see how that plays out, but basically I'm an XRP holder. I want this thing to go down, not up. So, but just letting you know, and then if I draw a trend line here, from here to here, it did break below the trend line, and now it's coming up to retest it as resistance. So maybe if I zoom in here, maybe, I mean, look how many green candles that is too. I mean, if I turn on sequential, I mean, we're on a 9 on the 3-week chart, for goodness sake. If we come up here and we tag this trend line and then go down pretty hard, that'll be a great sign for XRP. Somebody said IOTX. I don't know what this chart is. I have no idea what I'm looking at. So if you want to comment below, maybe it's a different ticker, you can let me know. So the next chart would be XPRT. Okay, well, this is something I can look at here. Not too much data, but basically, you had your opening bid, you had the initial pump, and then you have your sell-off. And the cool thing about the sell-off, just at a glance, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you have a 5-wave move to the downside. You have what appears to be a base down here. Let me actually go to the weekly chart. There we go. I wish we saw some Wyckoff down here, but we didn't. It looks like we have a bottom and then a double bottom. So right now, what you want is for it to hold above the bull market support band, which it's been doing, right? It's been doing since back in November of last year, testing it. So basically, it's just simply consolidating and holding above the bull market support band, which is a good thing to see. So not too much else to say. We have it could be, hold on, let's see, I haven't seen these charts yet, so we ran into resistance. So basically all these candles right in here, We need to break above that, right? And then what could be happening is maybe we're flagging out for some type of fourth wave. So something like a 1, 2, all of that's 3, A, B, C, and or better yet, rise, crash, retrace. Now we're in reaccumulation. We're going sideways, right? And then we break out. So I would, we're stuck in a range, so I would wait until we break this range. But yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. It really depends on the rest of the market as well. But from looking at it, it looks bullish. It looks like it needs to continue its retracement to the upside. So if I put on a retracement from the top to the bottom, I mean, we're nowhere even near. I mean, this thing's at 38 cents. Just to get back to the 618 is like $10. So I think it's called persistence. Who knows? Maybe it might be a gem, right? Might be a hidden gem. And to get to the 1618, that's almost $26, $27. I have no idea if it can get there. It's not too much data. It's hard to know when you don't have cycles to compare it to and things like that. So far, all I got is a bottom, a double bottom, a break above the bull market support band, and now we're testing it. And it looks like some type of fourth wave. So the goal is to break above this. Do I think we can do it? I think we could. I think we eventually will. Now, to look at it bearishly, you can say 1, 2. I mean, you can say this is 1, 2, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, all of this is 3, this is 4, then you get 5. But I don't think so. I mean, it's always a chance, right? Because sometimes you have wave 4s, or talking about the 7-wave bottoming theory, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you get 6. 6 rolls back up into wave 5, then you get 7. If it was going to be bearishly, another semi-bearish way to look at it is to say you have 1, 2, 3, and now you have 1, 2, and then you get 3, right? And then you get another 1, 2, 3. So some type of 1, 2, 3, some type of bearish move before a bigger move. So, I mean, that's really all I have for that one. STX. So, STX, this is called Stacks. I've never seen this chart. I mean, it's right at the all-time high. That's interesting. Let's see if we can do some work here. I would suspect that this is 1, 2, 3, and then you have an A, B, C for 4, and now you have a 1, 2, 3. Maybe you get 4 and a 5. So the whole thing would be 1, 2, or I'm sorry. Yeah, well, yeah, it could be that too. It could be a 1, 2, and now we're in the middle of that third wave. But Elliott wave's not really helpful here. At least not on this time frame. Let me zoom in here. I'll probably have to spend some more time with this chart. I mean, yeah, it looks very bullish. We had a bull run like everybody else did, right? I mean, obviously it could be a 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is a truncated fifth. So basically what a truncated fifth means is it's a fifth wave that didn't break the high. So it was truncated. Then you have a pullback, and then you have a 1-2, and now you're continuing to go. So the big test is to break and stay above the all-time high. Now, the dangerous part here is that this could turn into a flat, right? So here's your top. You have an A. All we have is 3 waves. We have 1, 2, 3. It's very 3-wave-ish. And the top, it slightly broke the top. So it's basically, it corrected to the upside, right? So it could be a flat, right? Now it could be a running flat. It could be an expanded flat, right? Or even a regular flat. Or it can even be a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation. We go sideways, which is usually what happens following a big thing like this. But yeah, I don't know. I really don't know about this one. I would say it's kind of in the same camp as Bitcoin, but not really, because it's got, Bitcoin has a clear 5-wave move in here, but this one doesn't. So, and then you also, you have 1, 2, 3. You have 1, 2, 3. So you could get 1, 2, 3. And that would be a big W, X, and a Y. And then you go to the moon. So, that's how that would look. So, but just looking at it now, I mean, it's bullish. Let me see if I get the all-time high here. I put the close right there. I mean, we broke above the all-time high. We sort of back tested it, and now we're continuing higher. I would probably say we need some consolidation, because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a 5-wave move. So I would expect some type of ABC or something to meet up with the bull market support band and then continue higher if it wants to be bullish. So that's kind of the couple different ways I would look at it. But yeah, as of now, it looks pretty bullish. I mean, and it can even, you have a shoulder, you have a head, maybe it comes down for another shoulder, and then it continues higher. But then if that happens, it would just be rise, crash, retrace. It would just be a reaccumulation before higher. So yeah, I'll remind me again, and we'll look at it another day. Track, never seen this one before. Yeah, just not a lot of data to go by on this one. The all-time high was about $6 or so. The current price is $1.20. Really want to see it get to the 618, somewhere in here between $3.80 to $4.80. That would be the goal, is to break above that. It looks like it's corrective. We have 1, 2, 3. And then we have 1, 2, 3. And then it looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it looks like an A, B, C so far. It's a 1, 2, 3-wave move. So, all the charts are saying, hey, be cautious. Be very cautious, because we're in, somewhat of in a retracement level. I mean, if I looked at this on log scale, we would be on the log scale fib. So, yeah, maybe, what if this is the biggest crypto trap in history, right? Like, because everybody expects Bitcoin to continue higher, right? Maybe this whole ETF thing was just a a scam to pump the price above the all-time high, and then everybody expects it to continue going because that's what it's done since millennia, but it ends up being just one giant flat where we come all the way back down. But I mean, a lot of the altcoins don't look like that. A lot of the altcoins, I mean, some of these look corrective, but like THETA, it broke out of a Wyckoff accumulation range. But then again, they can't really do much unless Bitcoin is there to continue supporting it, right? And we need regulation in order for them to trade independently. So, but yeah, I mean, there's no sense of talking about that, right? Because, like I said, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But for now, it still looks bullish. I would expect a little correction, reevaluate. If it holds the bull market support band, continue higher. If it breaks below, I would look for a lower price. If I put the fib here, from here to here, I mean, 65 cents between 80 and 65 would be a 618, a 50% retracement or a 618 retracement of this wave, right? So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you retrace the wave between 50 and 60%, somewhere in here. And then if we can hold in here, then maybe higher. If not, then probably 1, 2, 3, and then we get 1, 2, 3, right? Some type of reaccumulation pace. It's hard to know. It's hard to know. There's not a lot of data. So I think this was another one, LCX. Same thing. We have a 3-wave move. Very hard to know if it's going to, turn into either this is a 1, 2, and now we're in the middle of the 3rd wave, 4, 5, or it's an ABC and we're going to go down. But like I said, we're in a very challenging area. We're in the middle of these retracement levels following a 3-wave move. Some of them are following a 5-wave move, which would mean we probably got more correcting to do. So I wish I could be more helpful, but until that day comes, we'll just have to keep an eye on it. But looking at it, I mean, it looks bullish, right? We have somewhat of a shoulder ahead and a shoulder. We have a bottom and we have a higher low, right? So the goal for this coin would be really to stay above the bull market support band, but then also to stay above this black line. And then you can kind of see also Wyckoff accumulation in here. So it actually does look pretty bullish. Like I said, I haven't seen these charts before, so it's a little challenging, to figure it out right off bat. But you have this boom, 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 Wyckoff accumulation. Here's that U shape, right? We break above the line. We sort of bounce around in here, and then we continue higher. So that would be my ultimate idea right there. This is Wyckoff. We broke the line. We consolidate. We continue higher. So moving on, SUI. Now this one got through all of its retracement levels. It's very brand new. It's hard to know what these coins are doing. It's anyone's guess, really, because there's just not a lot of data to go off of. But it looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we're probably getting that 5th wave. So look for some divergence between the 4th and the 5th if we get it. If not, then, like I said, we're in the retracement levels. We get an A, B, and we come down for C, and we test the bull market support band. Then we get the 5th wave. So anything can happen right in here because you're at those retracement levels. But looking at the daily chart, you got a bullish engulfing candle. So let's see where it takes you. You also have, inverse head and shoulders in here. a nice bottom in here. Yeah, it looks bullish. It looks like it wants to continue higher. So it looks like it's going for that fifth wave. So where, if it gets the fifth wave, then what? Well, then I would think a correction. So you got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you get a bigger correction, and then hopefully continue higher, right? So MATIC. Now MATIC gives me a lot of detail. So there's a lot of different ideas for MATIC. I mean, right off the bat, you have an A, B, C, right? And then you have another three there, and then maybe you get another 3, and then go. So that would be a W, X, Y, go. And that would be the way it looks, right? That's how it looks to me, because it's all very corrective. This is 3 waves. This is 3 waves. Now, what would be bullish is if this was an A, B, C, and then this was a 1, 2, and now we're starting another 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, or the beginnings of a third wave. So tough to say on MATIC until we break. Let me see here. If I put this line here, it looks like we broke above the downward resistance line, which is good, right? So it looks like a big triangle, right? So if I, on the macro, it looks like a 1, 2, 3, and now we're in a fourth wave triangle, and then we're going to get wave 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know if that would work. So you would say 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, D, and then we have E, and now we're ready to moonshot, right? Or not right away, but eventually. Yeah, the triangle looks pretty good. We broke above the downward resistance line, and then also I like it because it's kind of like a rise, crash, retrace. You go down for reaccumulation, and now you're kind of going sideways in here. So wait for that breakout. So another thing I would say is, I mean, MATIC, I think, is here to stay. I'm a long-term bull for Polygon and MATIC. I mean, you had the president build his NFTs on there. I mean, that gave it clear validation. So we broke above the bull market support band. We back tested it. We continued higher. We back tested again. I mean, as long as we stay above the band, this is just bullish consolidation. I would expect continue higher. Now we want to break above all of these tops in here. So if I got rid of that, let me put the retracement on here. Yeah, we really need to get above $2. So, we're still not even there yet. Well, actually, about $2 would do it. So, yeah, we'll keep an eye on this one. DOT. Now, I was lucky to get in DOT right as it came out. It was one of those coins. I heard it, and I bought a little bit of it, and I did pretty well. Sold it a little too early, but that's okay. I made money. And then since then, I haven't really had it much. But yeah, DOT is like many of the other charts out there, which is this Wyckoff accumulation pattern in here. Let me tone it down a little bit. There we go. And what I like about this was an actual spring Wyckoff. So boom, boom, boom. And then we come down, we break the low right here. We grab that liquidity, kind of like how THETA did, right? We broke above the bull market support band. We back tested it, and now we're continuing higher. We're challenging this high here. So I would expect something like this and then a continuation to the upside because, Wyckoff accumulation, even going back to the other examples, it appears that a lot of the coins, we have the spring, right? And now we have this area right here, which lines up with this area here. So once we've worked this correction out, we continue higher. So, some of the charts look like big flats that are kind of bearish. Others look like they have a big bullish Wyckoff accumulation range that are just barely getting started, like Theta Fuel, right? So, yeah, that's what I would have for DOT. Now, DOT can also turn into, we need a retracement for DOT because we haven't had one, right? I mean, we're still at the bottom of the barrel. So a retracement can turn into a 1, 2, 1, 2, we get up in here. And now whatever happens in here, that's the hard part. We can go down for reaccumulation, then go. We can flag out, then go. Or we can do a big A, B, C, then go. But like I said, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But for now, it looks like DOT needs more upside to go. So what else we got? I don't know if this was the coin the person wanted. I'm not sure if this was it, but I can't be helpful on this one. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It looks like we have a 5-wave move. I would at least wait for a correction or a test of the bull market support band before going higher. But yeah, it's hard to know when you have just one wave. T-drop. So someone asked me for a target. It's hard to know on a target because you don't have any prior cycles. I don't like pulling fibs from their opening bid, their opening price, but essentially it would be 10 cents. That would be the and we're not even at 1 penny yet. So we're at 0.0049. So still a long ways away to get to that 10-cent mark, which would put it at about 2,000%. And then depending how that looks, then we can talk about bigger targets like the 2618 at 16 cents, even up to that 26-cent mark. But yet to be seen. So usually if this was to be, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you would get this first pump to the upside, and then you would kind of flag out in here, right? And then kind of go. So maybe T-drop is creating a big Wyckoff accumulation pattern. So it would be like this: boom, boom, boom. And now we're going into that spring before the big pump. That would be one of the ideas. It could also break this low, then go into a spring phase. But it looks to me, if it was Wyckoff, it would come down here and then go. Now, I don't know. It can be short. It can only be like that. I don't know the timing of it. But some type of correction, we have this pump. You get this correction, right? Especially after going down so much. You get a big bounce, and then you have a bullish correction followed by continuation. So that would be kind of the way I would look at it. Now that's one way. Now the other way is to say we need to get above this high here. Now on the 6-hour chart or lower, we do have a nice bottoming structure down here. I mean, you can see it. It's just a beautiful rounded bottom, right? And it, looks like a bunch of 1 2 1 2 1 2s. So this thing could get very bullish very quickly. Now we'll get there when we get there, but talking about right now, it could be an A, B, C. We can get down to the bull market support band, continue higher, and that's kind of what it looks like. Now B can get higher, and if B breaks above the 702, then this could be maybe a 1 2, and now we're starting our fifth wave, as you would say. So yeah, again, it's hard to know because we're right on the retracement levels. We're away from the bull market support band. On the macro, it's bullish. On the short time frames, we got to wait for the retracement. And then I talked about targets. We also have a Wyckoff down in here. So we do have Wyckoff down in here, which is good to see. And I did talk about that too on that other T-drop video. So yeah, it's bullish. We broke above the bull market support band. We tested it, continued higher, and now we're consolidating. So it wouldn't surprise me if we come down and test it in an ABC, and it would actually be bullish. If not, rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, right? So this wick is pretty nasty rejection, right? So if I zoom in here, I don't know if that's an anomaly or what. Maybe some type of diagonal, 1 2 3 4 5, like a rising wedge. We come down and we get a 3-wave pullback and then go, kind of what it looks like. Or you can say this is the 3-wave pullback, and now we're getting ready. We're just building a base here of support, allow the band to catch up and then continue higher. But yeah, we'll talk more about it as we get more data. Right now, it's just I don't know burger. So, anyways, QNT. I'm long QNT on the macro idea, which is a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, waiting for that blast off. Also a shoulder, a head, a shoulder. I mean, it looks bullish to me. Now, there's always a chance that we have 1 2 3, 1 2 3, and then we get 1 2 3, then go. I don't really like that because we have 1 2 3, 1 2 3, right? So I would expect 1 2 3. So W, X, and a Y, and we'll see what happens in the retracement levels. So that's one way to look at it. Another way is zooming in A, B, C, somewhere down in here. Make a higher low, then go. But yeah, we're in the retracement levels like all the other coins. And when I mean retracement, I mean you have a high, you run up, you have a high, right? You have a big pullback, and then you retrace that pullback. The question is, do you break out or do you stop and reverse? Anything can happen in the retracement levels. So on the face of it, it looks bullish because you have this sort of inverse head and shoulders. I really want to see it break this neckline and continue higher. So yeah, I think it looks good from a macro. We might have another wave to the downside, but even if that's the case, I'm still holding long. For me, not financial advice. Nothing I say here is financial advice, but look at this. Here's your downward resistance line. We broke above the downward resistance line. We back tested it, and now we're continuing higher. And we just recently tested the bull market support band. It's not like some of these coins where they've gone so far up above and beyond their bull market support band, right? So we had this pullback. We had a base down here. We had, looks like a flat. A, B, C, and now we're rocking and rolling. Or A, B, C, A, B, C. Maybe we get another A, B, C, then go. Some type of reaccumulation, because we're still above the band. That's good, and we're consolidating bullishly above it. So we have to wait until we get more information. But as of now, it's 1, 2, 3. It's very three wave-ish. So it's up. It's really up in the air. But overall, it looks bullish to me. You have this nice rounded bottom, and now we're running into resistance. So I would expect for the whole market more correcting, and then once that correction is done, then more upside. Looking at Rune real quick, to me it looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. So yeah, I mean, talking bearishly, if you wanted to, it could be an A, B, C, then go. It could be a rise, crash, reaccumulation, then go. A lot can happen in the retracement levels, because back over here, it was pretty clear we were getting into a bear market, and then down here, it was pretty clear we needed a bounce. But then when you get in the middle, it's difficult to gauge until we get better signals. But for now, it still looks bullish, right? Because when you look at other coins, they're barely breaking out of their initial range. So a lot of them have more catching up to do. Because, when you look at THETA, I mean, I started really doing videos back in October, and it was pretty easy to gauge that, hey, this thing needs to go up. But now, and then, once breaking above its Wyckoff accumulation structure, breaking above its base, right, still looks like it needs to go higher. The question is, what happens when we get here? Now, when we were up here, right, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had a 5-wave move. We broke below the bull market support band. It looked pretty serious that we would crash. Then we went sideways. Then it looked pretty identifiable that we would go into retracement. Once we get into the retracement levels, we're not quite there yet. Then the question becomes, now what? See, that's the hardest part, is to figure out, is this an A, B, and now we get C? Is this a rise, crash, retrace, then we go into reaccumulation? Or is this going to just continue pumping up the jams, right? Because when you get in the middle here, it gets more challenging to figure out. So, but if you're a long-term bull in crypto, I mean, there's nothing, I mean, for me, it's just hodl, because you don't really know. And if we do come down, you just add more to your position. If we break out, fine, let's go, right? But anyway, anything can happen, right? This is not financial advice. And then I think that'll do it. I'm going to wrap it up here. But yeah, I've put out a few videos yesterday if you want to check out Bitcoin, more on Bitcoin and THETA and THETA Fuel. And I might divide this video up into 2 parts. I'm not sure yet. We'll see. But anyways, guys, I appreciate everybody for tuning in, and hitting the like button is always very appreciative, and also dropping a comment. If I missed your coin, or if I didn't get to it, please comment below, and I will check it out on the next rapid fire video if you want me to check out any coin. And as always, if you want to support the channel, there's a tip jar, and you can always do that. That's always very appreciative. And until next time, I will catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.